discrepancy between this rhetoric and the reality of the action. BP was, for example, responsible for accidents at its refineries. There was accidents on its pipeline in Alaska, and again in 2007 became involved in exploiting the Canadian tar sand. But above all, only 7% of its investment were devoted to alternative energy. Greenpeace and others, they were really criticizing BP for spending heavily on a worldwide advertising campaign, giving the false impression that alternative energy represents a core part of the company business. It was only 7%. Now, if you look at contemporary attitude towards sustainable architecture, we generally consider a zero-emission building a good result. Well, could be. Could make a big difference. But if we look, for example, of some points raised by people like Suzuki or by Peter Buchanan, we know that we have to consider embedded energy, waste and recycling, how long the building will last, possible future reuse, how comfortable it is, where it is going to be built, traffic density, urban context, and so on and so on and so on. And that we have to analyze the real needs. Again, this kind of word is coming back. So to consider that an emission-free, energy self-sufficient building is a green building, or is the solution to the problem, is in a certain way like considering BP a kind of green company because of 7% investment in alternative energy. In the 70s, we have all these architects and engineers, which we went very quickly through, which produced projects, models, which were alternative to the modern ones. They offered invaluable amount of experiment, research, and devices, and especially they offered to us a toolbox of ideas with which, by which, and through which we experience and interpret the world. Today, while we face a recurrence of the problems that we started to look at 30 years ago. In 1975, when was asked about the effect of the energy crisis, Irving Kristol, who not by chance became one of the most important figure in conservative thinking in North America, predicted that the near future, which at the time was the 80s and the 90s, was going to be exactly as the past, was going to be the mirror of the recent past. And he was, unfortunately, completely right. If we have to do a prediction today, at least I have to say that if the future is going to be the past again, I think that we can at least choose the past that we want to have as our future. And I think that we could start again by retrieving these kind of experiments, and especially this kind of thinking, which has produced by this large group of people in that period who thought differently, and that produced over these decades something that at that time was so hastily and thoughtlessly cast away and cast aside. So I think that it is an exercise that we have to do if we don't want to have and to face again and again the same problem. And another precedent, like Jimmy Carter did in 1979, to appear on our TV screen or on our wireless connection in our computer, and to repeat the same speech again. Thank you very much.